I don't know if you can hear my dog behind me in the background snoring, but she's asleep. So, yeah. This is going to be a very quick video from a request from somebody in my comment section of my last video about CONCACAF Hexagonal predictions, which teams I think from CONCACAF are going to go to the World Cup next summer. Apologize if the quality of this video is a little bit staticky, but it's the best I can do for right now. I'm not going to give match by match predictions for all the remaining fixtures in CONCACAF because there are still a lot of games left to play. Only 4 out of 10 games have been played. Everyone still has 6 more to go. But as far as who I expect from CONCACAF to qualify for the World Cup, I think Mexico are a surefire bet to make it. I think they are going to win the Hex. I think they're going to finish first. Um, they were lucky to come away with a victory on the road in the last match day against Trinidad and Tobago, but I don't attribute it to an overall slump in form in general. I just think that it was just one of those minor little blips on the radar. I have no reason to suspect Mexico is going to succumb to the same struggles they did in the 2014 cycle where they barely qualified and had to go to a playoff against New Zealand. So, yeah, no, Mexico are going to the World Cup. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Second, I do think the United States, despite starting off slowly, is in contention to grab second ahead of Costa Rica. I don't think they will, though. I think Costa Rica, under Oscar Ramirez, is a good coach. They're in great form. They were unlucky not to get the win in Honduras in the last match day, but they settled for a draw anyway. Much of the core players from the 2014 World Cup are still there. Costa Rica is still one of the part of the trifecta, the 3 best teams in CONCACAF, along with Mexico and the United States. I think Costa Rica comes in second in the Hex. I think they qualify for the World Cup directly with very little problems, to be honest. Third and fourth is when it gets tricky because I see third and fourth place as a three-way race between the United States, the United States, Panama, and Honduras. Um, right now, Panama is in third with 5 points. I favor the Americans, though, with the superior remaining schedule. And I think the United States overall just has more depth to overcome any hurdles that they may face in the remaining 6 matches in the Hex. And I just don't trust Panama to get the job done directly, at least. I think that the United States will likely finish in third and qualify directly, just about avoiding the playoff spot against the fifth placed Asian side. And really, the United States should seek a top 3 berth because there's no guarantee that the fifth placed Asian side will be a walk in the park in that playoff. In fact, I'm banking that it will not be, given that it's looking increasingly like it could be Australia. And Australia is a pretty good team that could cause the United States trouble in a 2-legged playoff. And I don't want the United States to be in that kind of position to start with. But I do think Bruce Arena is going to turn the game around. The players showed, very promising signs in their utter dominance of Honduras last month in a 6-0 slobber knocker of Los Catrachos and Luis Jorge Pinto's side. So I expect the United States to come through directly, though this will be the first time ever that the United States doesn't finish in the top 2 of the Hex. I do think that's going to happen, but I think they're going to avoid the playoff spot because I think ultimately they're better than Trinidad and Tobago, they're better than Honduras, they're better than Panama. The fourth place playoff spot's going to be between Honduras and Panama. I know it sounds like I'm disrespecting Trinidad and Tobago here, but I just don't see how Trinidad finishes higher than fifth. It's possible they'll avoid finishing in the bottom of the basement, but I just can't see Trinidad stealing the playoff spot. They did so in 2006, but I think this generation is not as good as that one that qualified for Germany in '06. So the fourth place playoff spot, I think, is between Panama and Honduras. And Panama looks to be in better shape right now. I think that Panama is not necessarily better coached than Honduras, but I think that Honduras is going through a slump in form, and I'm not sure that Honduras will be able to catch up and repatch their back line in time to fix their or sort of to set the record straight in their campaign hopes to secure a spot at the World Cups in this qualifying campaign of theirs. Uh, Excuse me, I'm really tired right now. I'm making a video at night. I think Panama will get the playoff spot, um, thus rectifying the agony that they had at the hands of the United States 4 years ago, where they came very close to taking the playoff spot away from Mexico. But that late goal by, I think it was Graham Zusi, who gave the Americans a 3-2 win away from home in Panama City. So I think this time Panama will grab it. They'll get the playoff spot, and that will bring them into a playoff against the fifth place team from the AFC, the Asian Football Confederation. Now that one's tough to predict. I don't know who would win that because it all depends who Panama's opponent is. If it's Saudi Arabia or Australia or Japan or South Korea or Uzbekistan, all of those teams I think can beat Panama. We could be seeing 5 Asian sides and only 3 CONCACAF sides at the World Cup this time. I hope that doesn't happen. I cheer for CONCACAF generally. I like to see 4 CONCACAF teams at the World Cup because I think CONCACAF as a whole are still better than Asia. I think 3 and 5 spots respectively would be a little bit too much of a misrepresentation. I think 4 spots each is just about fair. So I think that but to be realistic here, it's hard to predict because I don't know who Panama's potential opponents could be. So that remains to be seen. But I do think that the Hex is not going to produce any big surprises. There may be 1 or 2 shock results here and there. Maybe Honduras and Trinidad stealing some points off of the top teams. But I just think that Mexico, Costa Rica, and the United States are going to come through, directly qualify for the World Cup. Whoever the 4th place team is, I hope they qualify too because I'd like to see more CONCACAF representation at the World Cup, but there's no guarantee. But those 3 teams that I just said, that obviously the 3 best teams in the region, they're going to Russia in 2018. I would be absolutely astounded if they didn't. So there you have it. My next CONCACAF World Cup qualifying predictions video will not be until June because I think that is when the World Cup qualifiers kick up again. I will give my own individual match day predictions for each game when they come. I think they're on June 13th, I believe. But until then, I'm not going to talk about World Cup qualification from the CONCACAF region specifically for almost a couple of months because it's not necessary at this point. So there you have it. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you think another team is going to qualify for the World Cup? Let me know. I'd like to hear from you guys. Give me some video ideas as well. I'm open to most things. And I will see you again later. Peace out.